Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Learn with Jason. Today on the show, we have one of the best teachers in development, one of the most pleasant people I know, Anjana Vakil. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi. Oh my God. I am so excited to be here. We've been talking about doing a show for like a year or something like that.
It's been a minute, yeah.
Been so long in the making. So I am super stoked to be here. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Yeah, it is going to be an absolute blast. So, you like, I'm going to gush about you a little bit because you have been consistently like one of my favorite presenters on the internet for a long time. Like, I think I first saw you present. I don't know. It wasn't the first time, but at JS Heroes, you gave a talk called like the universe in a single arrow, where you like rewrote the lambda calculus from scratch, and it was like, and I think that the reason that talk struck me as so powerful is that is literally the most boring shit you could have possibly proposed, right? Like, I'm gonna reinvent math on stage, and it ended up being one of the most entertaining and engaging talks I've ever seen. And that was when I realized, like, holy crap, I need to pay attention because I could learn a lot from Anjana.
Oh, well, that's so sweet. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with that talk. That was like I love taking that stuff that's, kind of not necessarily that practically useful, but has some really cool abstraction behind it or something like that. And just try to make it a little bit more fun. So I'm so glad you enjoyed it.
I'm going to try to find that talk so I can put it into the chat. Here it is. It is so good. Go watch this talk. Like, not, oh no, stop helping. But yeah, definitely go and watch this talk. It is so good. Not now. Pay attention for now. But oh, and thank you, Chris, for the sub. Really appreciate it. We see a couple Chris's in the chat. We got Nikki here.
Hi, everybody.
Vignes Hacker. You gotta spell that boop right, or else it won't drop.
I mean, I'm a big fan of just typing boop into chat. So
yeah,
I say go for it. Hey, what's up?
All right. Great to see everyone. All right. So I want to talk a little bit before we start coding. You just started a new job.
I did. Yeah. I started, a little over a month ago now as a developer advocate at Observable, which you're going to find out a lot about today if you've never heard of it before. But we make a live reactive coding and data visualization environment in the browser.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really excited because it's a platform that people have made already so much cool content with, educational content, like computer art kind of graphics things, really awesome and insightful DataViz, all kinds of stuff. So I'm just really excited about it because the community is just doing such amazing things with it. So I'm excited to be in a position to help more people do more amazing things with it. And I'm learning about it myself as we go because I'm new there as well. So it's been really interesting so far.
And so data visualization is something that we've done a little bit of on the show. We've had Shirley Wu on and did some like generative data visualization, which was a lot of fun. But what we're going to do today is a little bit different, right? So we're going to be looking at like, how do I take a pile of data and just like make it make sense? And Observable is kind of like, it's purpose built for this, right? So can you talk a little bit about like, what is a use case that you could see for somebody getting into Observable? Like, why would somebody want to try this out?
Totally. So there is a lot that you can do in Observable, but some of the main, most like salient use cases are, first of all, being able to really quickly iterate on a data visualization. So if you're not entirely sure which type of chart would look best, or maybe you're, still sort of massaging some of that data after it's come in raw form, like maybe you're pulling it from a CSV you've got, or maybe you're pulling it from a database. We have a couple database connectors, and sort of working with that, reworking it, and experimenting with different types of visualizations that you can do with it. Excuse me, because Observable is it's live, it's in the browser, and it's reactive, everything is updating instantly, which we'll
Yeah.
see in a moment how that works. So you can, really quickly change around the maybe the width and size of some of your bars and your bar chart, or mess with colors to see what gives the best insight into how the data breaks down and things like that. So data visualization and like prototyping data visualizations is one really great thing to do in Observable. Another thing, personally, like maybe my favorite thing that Observable is great for is these interactive code featuring articles that you can make with it. So you can treat a notebook kind of like maybe like a blog post or something like that, with text, like explanatory text sections. You can put markdown, you can put paragraphs or whatever other text you want. And you can also have these visuals inside of the notebook that people can then interact with. So let's say maybe you're trying to explain the data around, right now everybody is like doing a ton of work around the COVID data, or maybe you're trying to let people understand like how data about trends in population or what have you apply in their particular country or in their particular place, and you want them to be able to interact with your charts and dig into them and really like get hands-on with that. You can put all of that into a kind of living, breathing document where people can see the code that went into making everything happen. They can see they can really touch and feel whatever you're putting into it. And it doesn't have to just be data visualization. Like, for example, some of my favorite notebooks on there are explanations of how certain algorithms work. So you can, because Observable makes animation and stuff like that really easy, you can step through, let's say, an algorithm to, triangulate a geometric object or something like that to make it, to make graphics for it. You can watch as it draws each of the little triangles, because you can slow it down and kind of step through that. So it's really great, I think, for like explanatory work where people are trying to get people to understand more deeply either data or an algorithm or a computational graphic or something like that.
Yeah, I'm fully on board with that. Like I found that I have a hard time learning by text. So like if you explain something to me, I can't, like I'll get it sort of, but where it really starts to click is like when you get the whiteboard, or when you start, showing me it, like graphics that step through the process. So this ability to be able to actually like make something interactive where I can say like, okay, now how did that work? And then I can just step through it myself and rewind and go back. Like that gives so much additional context that's just so difficult to put into words.
Yeah, and then we've tried to really also make it great for like collaboration, and we're continuing to try to make it even better for collaboration.
Yeah.
And so folks are also doing really cool things collaboratively with it, because you can quickly kind of go back and forth. You don't have to produce a whole report and take it to your teammate and have them read it and then give you feedback. It's like you can work on it together. And I think I see Mike Freeman in the chat, who is currently teaching a university course on data visualization in Observable. So he's
cool.
done amazing work on like really helping us understand better like how people can teach with Observable and how people can make these notebooks to hi Mike, to like allow people to get their feet wet with data science and data visualization.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm going to switch over to the desktop view so that we can show off Mike's work, because this is super cool.
Yeah.
So this is Observable, right? Yep. And these are, each of these is a notebook. Is that correct?
I believe so. They could be collection. I think.
Oh,
yes,
they're collections. Yeah.
They're collections. It's really tiny on my screen, but yes.
Oh, sorry.
I'm going to open it. I think those are collections.
Yeah.
But, so collections are kind of like groups of notebooks, and we also have some collections on Observable that are kind of like courses, like a Learn D3 course, for example. And Mike has also made some amazing courses and explainers and things like that in here. So highly recommend checking it out.
Generative Art? Oh, nothing in that one yet. Okay.
So there's a generative art collection in the main Observable. If we go, let me grab the link.
And what's cool about this, like looking at it, is we're doing like, so these are all kind of foundational things, right? So it's like this is like setting up D3. So, but you can see here, like this is a set of generated stuff from D3, right? This is a legend. And the data itself is down here somewhere, probably at the bottom.
So the data, yeah, we're gonna actually build something here where we can see how this sort of can flow together. But
Yeah, let's
often
do
what you'll
that
do,
because I'll just
yeah,
start playing.
yeah. But in the meantime, I just wanted to, yeah, there's if you go to the kind of main observablehq.com and you go to explore, you'll also see a whole bunch of really cool notebooks and collections and things like that. And we can I can drop some more links in later. I'm really bad at multitasking things like this. Somebody asked in chat, like, is this related to RxJS? No, it is just a naming collision. I mean, there are similarities in terms of the reactive programming side of things, but no, Observable, capital O, the company, Observable HQ, and RxJS observables are distinct.
These are incredible.
Yeah, the spot one is pretty cool, showing how long it takes songs to kind of make the charts on Spotify, I believe.
Dang. Yeah.
Somebody asked what D3 is in chat.
Ooh.
D3 is a really powerful, really interesting library for data manipulation and data visualization, primarily data visualization. And it was kind of the precursor to, or I'd say the creator of D3, Mike Bostock, is also the founder of Observable. And so Mike Bostock created D3 so that people could make these really powerful, really performant, animated and reactive data visualizations, and then went and started Observable to give people a really cool web-based platform to iterate on that kind of work and much more beyond that as well.
Yeah. And so
so if folks have worked with Jupyter notebooks, it's like a little bit similar in that it's a notebook with cells and there's code in the cells and you're trying to work with data and visualizations. But whereas Jupyter, well, first of all, Jupyter uses Python, and so it's powered by a like Python on the back end. Observable runs entirely in the browser, and so it's all JavaScript, and that's what makes it play really nicely with D3 and these kind of more these more web first kind of technologies for data visualization. So, but there's a whole course actually on observablehq.com. There is a collection called Observable for Jupyter users, I believe. So if you're familiar with Jupyter, you might want to check that out.
Yeah,
and I will try and grab
Jupyter is that's Jupyter like this, right?
With a Y, like Jupyter. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that is a cool project. Like it's really cool, fun, powerful stuff.
Yeah, it's really awesome how many of these super cool projects are helping people do what they need to do with all this data.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some really good. Oh, and then it looks like Mike just dropped a link on
the Learn D3. Perfect. You just beat me to it, Mike. Thank you so much. That is the and the Observable for Jupyter users as well. Thanks a lot.
Awesome. Yeah. So this is I've done a little bit of D3. I had like Sarah Drasner has taught me a little bit of D3, and Shirley Wu has taught me a little bit of D3. So I'm really excited to go and do a little bit more because it's one of those things where it really feels like, oh, the possibilities are kind of limitless here. Like you can do everything with this library.
It's really powerful. I am not a D3 expert by any stretch of the imagination. You probably know more D3 than I do. And people in the chat like Mike Freeman definitely know way more D3 than I do. So we're gonna play around with it together. We're gonna see what we see. So yes, okay, great. We're signed up in Observable. Yes. Fabulous.
And that was super fast. I just signed in with my GitHub account and it just worked.
Yeah, exactly. We just let you integrate with GitHub or Google or what have you.
Okay.
And yeah, so I thought today we could make one of, I think, the more fun visualizations that we've written about, which I'm just going to try to grab the link for, which is a bar chart race.
Ooh, okay.
Which if people haven't seen a bar chart race before, I'm going to just drop a link in chat with an explainer of how that works. So a bar chart race is basically a visualization where we have a bunch of, bars that are dynamically updating based on like a ranking of whatever we're charting. So in this case, in the link I just dropped in chat, the bar chart race explained, this shows a visualization of like the popularity of different brands across time. But I don't know about you, I don't get quite as excited about brand popularity as I do about emoji. So what I think we should try to build is a similar visualization where we are looking at real-time emoji usage. And this link that I just dropped is, this is live data pulling in every emoji that anyone is using on Twitter and visualizing which ones are the most popular.
This is amazing too, because when you say live, we're just hooked into the Twitter fire hose right now, right? Like Twitter is always publishing everything public, and you can just kind of like dip in and listen. And so we're listening to, apparently everybody thinks everything is very funny on Twitter.
So the joy one is like always at the top there, which I think is interesting. But sometimes the sobbing one gets like a close second, and then it's like, you know that something has gone down. But so this data is coming from a real cool project called Emoji Tracker, which is linked in the top there. So that's the kind of go-between that we need. That's basically it's scanning Twitter live and I think 60 times a second sending out a notification on sending out a server sent event with like the rankings and the stats of like which emoji have been used in the last 60th of a second.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be building something like that. Somebody having issues in Safari? Oh no. Well, we can look into that later. If you want to contact us, I can try to figure that out. But let's not throw shade on each other's browsers. Browser diversity for the win.
Pygon,
anyway, but if it's not working for you in Safari, try it in Firefox or Chrome, and it should go better.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. So what do you think? Should we build one of these?
I am so ready.
Okay, cool. All right, so up at the top on the right, you see that new button?
Yes.
Do it.
Done it.
Yes. Okay, boom, we've got a notebook. So what you're looking at is the first cell in our notebook. Exactly, we can give it a title.
Okay. And then
if you exactly when you update one of these the source code in the little gray boxes, you have to run the cell to basically evaluate that source code and update the value of the cell. So we can either do that with that little play button you just hit on the right, or there's also a keyboard shortcut, Shift Enter. So if you want to add an exclamation point to the emoji race and press Shift Enter, you can see that work.
Oh, Shift Enter.
Shift Enter.
I'm hitting Command Enter. Like, why isn't this working?
No worries.
Because I can't follow instructions.
We are all learning. And so what you see on the left there is a little pin icon that allows you to keep the source code of a cell. So what we see, this is like a really simple cell, but what we see on the bottom in the gray area is like the source code of the cell. And if you click back into if you edit.
Oh, that's
cool. So what
cool.
We see is the source code. And if you don't want people to see the source code, maybe it's distracting, maybe it's too long, what have you, you can unpin the cell and it'll go away.
That's super cool. I had wondered how that worked. And so I've pinned it here. So when I go into another one, it's visible.
Now you'll still see it. Exactly. And for any cell, you can click on those little three dots and then edit. But as a quicker way, you can also just click into the left-hand area, like anywhere to the left of the dots there, and it'll just open the cell.
Oh, over here.
There you go. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Nice.
Just to save you a click. Yeah. No. Time is money. Okay, so what we're looking at is JavaScript. It looks weird, and I honestly did not really know, or like I had seen tag template literals before, but I did not really know much about them, but they're super cool. But this is a tag template literal that's just telling Observable that that we are using Markdown in this cell. But if you open another cell, you can write like an arbitrary JavaScript expression, like, I don't know, 3 + 4. And you'll see, if you press Shift Enter, you'll see it evaluate to whatever the value of that expression is.
That's cool.
But wow, it is hard for me to see what you're typing here. I'm gonna have to rely on us talking about it.
Slightly bigger. Does that help?
Cool. Exactly. So we're doing JavaScript. It is a little bit, writing JavaScript in Observable there are some gotchas of ways that it's slightly different than regular JavaScript. For example, if we wanted to have like a longer piece of code with, assigning variables and maybe doing a for loop or something like that, something that's not a single expression, we're going to need to wrap it in curlies. And
so we just have to like create a scope block, basically.
Yeah. Okay. And Observable kind of does some special sauce stuff behind the scenes to pull in values from elsewhere in your notebook. So this is what we'll be playing around with today. I'm not going to try and explain it all off the bat. We'll learn things as we need to as we go. So okay, one of the coolest things about Observable is that it's kind of we have access to the JavaScript ecosystem, but we also have access to the Observable ecosystem, like all of these cool notebooks that other people have made. So, okay, we don't really need to be doing arithmetic, I guess. In that cell, if instead you write import and then open curly braces, can you do chart, comma, emojis? And then we can close the curly braces. And then we're going to pretend, so basically Observable notebooks kind of function like modules. So we are going to import this from the mbostock Twitter emoji race notebook. So in quotes, you can just copy.
Where did it go? I got to grab it from the chat.
So many tabs. Now I can't get out of full screen to see what's happening here.
So I do without the Observable?
So minus all of, just the @mbostock. Cool. So if you shift enter there. Now it doesn't look like much happened, but what we have now in our notebook is we have values, chart, and emojis that we can refer to. So if you, in a new cell, type emojis.
Oh, it auto-completed for me. That's cool.
Yeah, fancy. So now we should see something. Did we just emojis?
Oh,
we should see some data flowing through. Okay, so this is some data that we're getting, and you'll see it's changing because it's being updated with that data from the emoji tracker. This is coming from Mike Bostock's notebook. So we're basically using his code to pull in that same data. Now, this is not super helpful because if you look at that array, it's like just a bunch of codes and counts of emoji.
Yeah.
So that's why we want the visualization. So now we're going to want to make a new cell of, is that right? To make space for our chart. So, why don't we put that at the top, actually, just after the emoji ray cell? Because what's cool about Observable is order does not matter. Like linear order of your cells, Observable does not care about. What it's doing, the only thing it cares about is what the dependencies are between your cells. So we'll see how that works in a second. If you type chart and just evaluate just the word chart and evaluate it, hooray, we have a big empty nothing. This is because
we did it.
Yay. This is because we haven't actually linked up the emoji data to the chart yet. So in the cell just below chart.
Below chart here.
Yeah, make a new one and do chart.update. And then in parens, emojis.
What? Wow.
Ta-da! So what Observable is doing is it's saying like, okay, this emoji cell, I'm looking at what the value of that is, and that value is changing like more or less 60 times a second. And every time the value of emojis changes, Observable will reevaluate any cell that uses the value emojis. So it's automatically like reactively updating the chart because of this chart.update cell. It's running that chart.update every time emojis changes.
That's super cool.
Yeah. And so this is kind of Observable, it's sort of a strange paradigm to get used to if you haven't worked a lot with like reactive programming before. But it's super powerful. It's really cool. And it's really useful for that quickly iterating on things because you don't have to even reload the page. You don't have to, watch a file and have a server that's like constantly reloading. It's just all live. And if just in terms of like Observable understanding what's happening in your observable notebook. If you go to the top right, if you hover over, do you see those little dots in the top right? So this is like a little representation. We call it the mini map. It's like a little representation of everything that you have, all of the cells that you have in your notebook. And the lines between them represent the dependencies between different cells. So you can see, like, for example, that we haven't really named any of these cells, but you can see with the lines, like, how they're connected. And as you get bigger and more complex notebooks, like, looking at this mini map to understand what the crap is going on is really useful.
Yeah.
So, okay, how are we feeling?
I'm feeling good. Yeah.
Okay, so basically we just stole this chart, right?
Yes.
So one thing we can do is, if you, and this is like, it's totally up to us and how we want to spend our time. If we want to, like, throw out this stolen
hackers,
chart and try
you dirty hackers,
rebuild it. Oh, what happened?
That's the chat trolling us.
Cool. So if we want, we can throw away this stolen version and we can try. I hope we'll have time to build it again from scratch, like, ourselves.
Yeah.
Or if we prefer, we can just take the chart as given and we can work on trying to hook it up to Twitch instead of Twitter.
Ooh, that sounds like fun. Because so I think that D3 itself is extremely cool. But there are a ton of resources on how to build charts with D3. I think what would be really interesting for me specifically is, like, how do I get data into Observable? So walking through that step, I think, would be, for me, more practical. I'll get more mileage out of that.
Totally. Yeah. So there are a bunch of ways to get data into Observable. So for example, if I have some data locally, like a CSV or a JSON file or something like that I want to work with, I can upload it directly to the notebook as a file attachment. In the case of the that first link that I sent, the bar chart race, if we go back over there to that window, if you scroll up to the top, you can see where this data is coming from. So there is a CSV. So this is the data, right? And it was in a CSV, and that got parsed out by D3 into these nice little JavaScript objects. And if you scroll down to the source code of that cell, yeah, okay, great. So this is where we see we have this file attachment of this CSV file that was uploaded. So if you want to upload a file to Observable, you can go to the top, the top menu on the right. There's three little dots that oh no, sorry, not on this one because it's not ours, but if we go back to our notebook, sorry.
Should we focus up? Should we write some code?
Yeah, we are doing that.
Are we not writing enough code? Is that what that means?
Don't let them get to you. I think they're just playing with sound effects now.
Getting booed off stage on the stream. That's never happened to me. No.
This is like, I swear to God, there may be of all the people watching, 10% are here to learn and 90% are here to mess with me. Oh, good. Here we go.
I dig it. Okay, cool. So you see that file attachments. That's where, if we had, like, let's say we had some static data that we wanted to upload, we would go to file attachments and upload it, and then we can we can grab it in our JavaScript and parse it and do whatever we want to it. But in our case, we're not working with, like, a data file. We are trying to get some live data coming in. So I guess we're not here to code. We're here to do D3 promotion. Couldn't be further from the truth. We're here to do emoji promotion, folks.
This is an emoji stan account now.
Okay, so what we want to do, it depends on kind of like what the data is and how it's being put out into the world. So, for example, the data in Mike Bostock's Twitter emoji race is coming from a streaming API of this emoji tracker data. So if we scroll down, or you know what, okay, in that emojis, you see the, if we go back up, we scroll down past the chart to where we have chart.update emojis. We want to find out the cell above. Yeah. So if we want to find out what is going on, like where that emojis was defined, if you press, I think it's Control J.
Oh, there's a tooltip. Hover says Command J or double click.
Command J, right? Max, right? Forgot. So
This
is now we're seeing what is happening in how this data is being defined. This is a big, overwhelming cell, if you ask me. At least that's how I felt when I first looked at it. So let's see what we can figure out here. So this event source is pulling from this endpoint on emojitracker.com.
Okay.
And I haven't actually worked with these much before. Maybe you have as well, but it's sending like server sent events out. I think what's happening on the server there is that it's sending out these messages every 60th of a second or what have you.
Right.
And oh hey Wayne, what's up? My colleague Wayne Sutton's on. It is basically we're reading from that, we're kind of pulling from that with this event source, which is like a JavaScript thing that I had never used before. So that's interesting. And so what we're doing is then we have this process data function, which looks really long and scary. But my understanding of what's happening here is the data comes in with basically like an array of the code for the emoji and the count of the number of times it was used since the last data was sent.
Got it.
Like the new times it was used. And what we're doing is we're like processing each of those entries and then seeing if we've already seen that emoji. If not, we're inserting it. And what we're doing is we're keeping like an ordered array of sorted by the total value, the total count of each emoji. And so all of this like I0, I1 is basically what we're doing is we're trying to find the right place to insert the new value so that the array stays sorted, basically, so that we don't have to like sort it every time.
So what I'm seeing is this is like a very like computer science-y way of doing like update the array and then sort the array.
Yeah. And I think this is probably for performance reasons that Mike wrote it this way, because we're getting 60 of these a second,
Right.
So if we had to like sort a really long array every animation frame, like that would not be
this is straight up something you would see on like a coding interview. Like this would be your whiteboard interview.
Yeah. No, and you can learn a lot by reading people's code on Observable, especially Mike Bostock's code. There's a lot of interesting things in there that I hadn't thought of yet. So that's the processing function whenever we get data. And this is where we're actually listening for that data, is in this on message handler. So the event source, whenever we get a message through it, we're parsing that out, and then we're processing it. And the head and tail thing, I don't think we really need to worry about right now. But I believe that is for just kind of making sure that we're timing out if there's, or that we're not timing out rather, if there's a drop in the data. But in any case, we don't have to focus on that too much. So this is how we could do it if we had like an endpoint that's sending server sent events,
right?
SSE, which is the emoji tracker data. But we don't have one of those for Twitch, as far as I know. So what I did with a lot of help from Mike Bostock was set up a little server to be serving a WebSocket that we can connect to pull data from your Twitch chat.
This is going to be fun.
So if we go back into our notebook, I think we're in.
This is ours, right? Cool. Yes.
Okay. So if we, let's see here. I have the okay.
Oh, geez.
Corgi.
I gotta up the limit on that. I need to make you work for it, Chad.
Okay, I got it. They have beards. That's so fun. Okay, if we want to open up a WebSocket, we're probably going to need a URL for where we can get that socket from. And in this case, the URL that we want to go to is, okay, so let's make a new cell. With a URL value. So yeah, just anywhere. And so one thing you'll see people do sometimes is like pull the less interesting cells down to the bottom because order doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's like annoying kind of code that's just there, like you just needed it to make your notebook work, but you don't necessarily want your readers to like focus on it, you can pull it down to the bottom. People often have like a little appendix section with stuff like imports and requires. Okay, let's make a cell that we're going to name URL. So do URL equals, and what that means is that we're going to be whatever the value of this cell is, we're going to assign a name to it, URL. So we can just make this be a string, and it'll be it's going to be a socket connection that we're opening. So WSS://. And the Heroku app is called limitless-lake -36433.
36433.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then the endpoint that so it's .herokuapp.com.
.com.
Mm-hmm. And I hope it's doing okay. Let me check on it. So what we want to do now is add a slash and your Twitch handle, Jay Langsdorff, because that is the endpoint that it's set up to listen to for a specific channel. It only works with your channel.
Okay. And so there's a question in chat about TMI.js. I would suspect that we're probably doing something like that, right? Like you've just hooked up to something like TMI and then you're just emitting that from the Heroku server?
Yes. Basically, the Heroku server is using the IRC interface that Twitch exposes to basically, so that the server itself has a socket open that's getting incoming data from Twitch.
Yeah.
And then it's re-channeling that. It's doing a little bit of processing to like make it look nicer, and then reprocessing it and sending it out through an outgoing socket, which we can then listen to.
Excellent.
So it's sort of a go-between. And so, but the general question of like, can I use insert JavaScript library here? Yes, with an asterisk that not all of them play super nicely with Observable, but in general, you can require whatever library you want. Like for example, if you go, so there's one that's going to be useful for processing these emoji. Let me see. Well, okay, so one that we're probably going to use a lot in data visualizations like this is D3, right? So we can just start with that. If you open a new cell and do D3 equals require, quote D3.
Okay.
Now, when we run that, and after it's gonna kind of implicitly await for that to load. So now we have like a D3 module that we can access in our code. And so let's say there's one that we want to use that's maybe a little bit needs to be like bundled or something like that to have all of the correct distribution files for us to pull it in. We might want to do something like this. I'm just going to drop you a message here. So this is there is a library by the people who made I think it's by the people who made the emoji tracker project, which was sending out those Twitter emoji.
Okay.
Called Emoji Data, which can give you some information about those emojis. So great. So this is now we have like an emoji data library, and we're pulling it from that bundle.run just because it makes the import work. So there's a few libraries that don't work just magically like out of the box. There's a notebook called the module require debugger.
No, this will work. This will work.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, it will.
it'll work.
I like the yes, just all thumbs up. That's
So there's like working with require in Observable sometimes doesn't work as like exactly the same as how it would work, as how you're used to using it in your regular like node code or JavaScript code or what have you. And so there are some notebooks that explain a little bit more about how that works, which I'm just going to drop in the chat here. Anyway, this is all a digression, but yes, you have access to the wider like JavaScript ecosystem. And if you're trying to require something that doesn't really work for some reason or is giving you errors, you can try this notebook that I'm just dropping in here, which is like a required debugger that will show you some other things that you could try, other ways that you could try importing it. But in any case, these work pretty okay.
okay.
Yeah, sorry, we can talk more about require if folks are interested, but suffice it to say, most of the time you can grab whatever library you want, including TMI.js. We're not, I don't think we're going to use it in this case, but okay, where were we? We were trying to read from this WebSocket, right?
Yes. So to recap, we've got a Heroku server that is listening to Twitch chat and emitting chat messages as events through WebSockets. We have D3 so that we can play with our chart. And then we have this emoji data. And now this will like look at the Twitch emoji and like give us back details. Is that correct?
This emoji data we're going to use to pull emoji out of the chat messages, because the chat messages that we're going to get in are just like the message itself, the text, words, whatever. We don't care about human language. We only care about emojis. No, arguably emojis are part of human language. Anyway.
I read, okay, I'm going to take a quick tangent here. Did you read, there's a book called Because Internet by, I think Gretchen McCullough is the author.
No, but that sounds awesome.
It's like a whole deep dive into the way that internet has changed how people speak to each other and like what it meant for the written word and what it meant for natural language. It is such a good, okay, I'll just drop it.
Oh my gosh, no, I have to read that. That sounds really cool because as a language nerd, it's right up my alley.
Where's her? Yeah, here's her website.
Because
so
internet. Cool.
Check this book out. It is really, really good. I found out about this from EJ Mason, and it's good. It's super interesting.
Awesome. I can't wait to check it out. Really cool. Yeah, no, fascinating.
Okay, so now that I've completely sidetracked this.
I'm here for it. This is the content I subscribe for. So let's make a WebSocket. Let's listen to our WebSocket. I'm sorry, I get so distracted by these little things. They're so fun.
I know. I get
so
distracted
many
by
different
them
ones
too.
of them.
I gotta. There
are so many.
It's a lot. There's a lot of baldness happening.
It's a brand. It's great.
Son of a biscuit.
And that's just not something I'm willing to do.
Oh boy, we're going all in on this, huh?
Wow. Oh, they have layers. It's like an onion of JSON reactions.
I think I broke the elevator music, Tony. What
are you doing, computer? Why are you like this?
We're just doing the whole tour now. All right.
This is amazing.
Okay, let's focus up. We're gonna write some code. Here we go.
Okay, all right, we're writing code. There's too much chatter and not enough coding. Let's do some programming. All right. So in a new cell, and we could put it maybe next to the URL one if we wanted. Again, the organization is totally up to us.
Oh, so we would need to add code.
Drag and reorder. Cool. Okay, let's open some curly braces. And we're going to write some code that then we're going to wrap in other stuff to make it work.
Okay.
So let's create a new, and now inside these curly braces, we are in JavaScript land. So we can just write JavaScript. So let's make a new WebSocket from the socket URL.
Oh God.
So new and then capital W, capital S WebSocket.
Oh, I don't need to like.
We'll assign it to a variable in a second. Let's call it, I don't know, socket, do const socket or what have you.
Okay.
And then we're gonna, this is kind of an observable-y thing. what we're gonna want to do is update the value of this cell when the WebSocket like open, so that we actually get the socket object.
Okay.
So let's assign the curly braces. Let's assign a name to this cell called socket. So we can do, before the curly braces, socket equals.
Okay.
Okay, and then we're actually gonna wrap this in a function that is going to be kind of like a callback. So let's take these curly braces and make them be the right side of an arrow. If that's, maybe I'm explaining this wrong. Okay, let's go. Okay, socket equals. We're gonna use an observable built-in called generators. So socket equals capital G generators dot observe.
Okay. And is that
I'm gonna explain that in a second. Open parens, and then it's gonna expect a callback that takes an argument notify.
Okay.
So after, so notify and then arrow and then whatever we do in here. Cool. Okay. So I'm gonna just like we're gonna type out some code that we don't understand yet, and then we're gonna try to understand it. How does that sound?
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so after we create our socket, new WebSocket, let's do let's assign listeners for onOpen, for example. So let's do socket.onOpen equals, and then a little arrow function that doesn't take any arguments. So like blank arguments, goes to notify, which is going to be passed in. We're gonna get that.
This will work. This will work.
Yes.
Notify, and that's a function.
So we're gonna do
right?
notify, and then I'm gonna output. I'm gonna pass the socket itself to notify.
Like
this
that.
is a little bit of a weird thing, and if some of my colleagues are listening, they're probably going to be like, "What are you doing?" And we can talk about that later. But but what's happening here? This notify function.
Mm-hmm.
This notify function that Observable is giving us basically when something happens in our code here, if I call notify, that is going to notify Observable that the value of this cell has changed. And that's because we're calling this generators.observe. So this generators.observe, this is kind of like under the hood of what Observable is doing when it watches a cell and that value updates.
Okay.
This is like a way we can control that, so that if I want to wait until, let's say, the socket has opened before the value of this updates, I can use this notify function as kind of like a callback to tell Observable, okay, now the value of this cell has changed. And so the value of the cell is going to become that WebSocket object.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to write one of these on my own, and just make sure that I understand it. So if I have like a test value, I can set this to be generators.observe, and I have a notify function, and something like I could basically just say like notify like this, and then when I run this, it's gonna set it to be something like this. But if I then do a timeout and I say like notify double boop, and then we tell it to here, and I have it wait a second. Then it should start by saying boop, and then it'll change to, okay, I get it. So we're basically giving ourselves the ability to say like when stuff happens. So I'm doing it on a timer, but we could do this on event.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I get it.
So, for example, with the streaming, API that we were pulling the Twitter emoji data from, like we could be notifying whenever I get an event from there. And in here, we're going to be notifying what we're going to do is we're going to grab the socket. And then in another place, we're going to basically notify when I've processed the data coming in from the socket. So we're gonna have a couple of layers here. The reason that we're doing the socket this way is really just so that if it closes or if it errors out, that we can like restart it without throwing out all of our data.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we wanted to, we could do like a couple of we could do like an on error or an on close handler in our socket code as well, that maybe just like changes the value with notify. Uses notify to change the value of the cell to like null, for example. which I might use just to check that the socket is open. So like if the socket exists and it's not null, then cool. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
Okay, awesome. And then what we can return from this whole function is like a little function that just closes the socket for us. Okay. And I believe what'll happen is that if I believe that this is where we're getting into the nuances of how Observable runs that I'm still learning. That if we return, socket.close.
Close?
Yeah, socket.close. Yeah, cool. Boom. Okay, I think that should set us up so that if something goes wrong with the socket, which when I was testing, right, so Twitch will time out the socket if people aren't like active in chat, like there's a timeout. So this is why I was like in your chat, like boop, boop, boop. But right now, if people are staying active in the chat, then the socket should stay open. So, okay, this is a lot of work to get this socket open, but we've got it.
We got it.
And so now what we want to do is basically process the data that's coming in from the socket. And what we're going to want to do, the socket is going to send us new messages as they come in. So we're going to have to keep a tally of like which emoji we've seen and what their cumulative counts are. We're going to have to like keep that on our own side because the server isn't doing that for us. It's a pretty simple, it's just passing us those messages through. So we're going to do this in a similar way to how Mike Bostock in the original Twitter emoji race was like processing that data.
Okay.
And we could actually like probably steal some of that code. So let's make a new cell. Yeah, cool. You know what? I want to call the data that we generate. I also want to call it emojis. But if I try to make a new cell that's like named emojis, like go ahead and try like emojis equals and then some string. I don't know.
Oops. Emojis
equals boop, whatever.
Oh no.
So now Observable is like, you broke me. I don't know what to do because there are two values that have the same name that are conflicting. And so I can't resolve that value anywhere. Oh, Visnu, what's up? Hey. So what we can do is exactly.
You're going to let me do this?
Bingo. You read my mind.
Perfect. Okay. There we go. Now it's working again.
Cool. Okay. So yes, so we can assign aliases to things when we're working with them from other notebooks, other importing things. Okay, cool. So now emojis is not a string. We're gonna do another one of these generators, .observe. And then notify, exactly. Picking it up super fast. Okay. So now what we want to do in here, I'm talking it through for myself more than for anybody else. We want to, the same way that Mike Bostock's notebook did it, we want to be like processing this data, keeping that sorted array of values and cumulative totals.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of think we should just like steal his process data function. What do you think?
Yeah, that works for me. So let's just
copy the process data function.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
And we can see if we need to adjust it somehow.
So
I believe I have it set up so that it should be okay.
Processing data.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay. And so above that, we're going to need a couple of things, which we can also steal from his notebook.
Okay.
Which are we don't need the source or any of that stuff or the header tail, but we do need the bisect, entries, and counts. So just those first 3 lines, we can grab those.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. And again, this is just to like keep it sorted and performant and yada, 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 yada. All right. But so what we haven't done yet is actually pulled any data from anywhere, which we're probably going to want to do with an onMessage handler for the socket.
Yes.
So right now we've just got a function which, given some data, will process it and will add it to that cumulative entries and the cumulative counts there.
Mm-hmm.
But we need to get some data. So let's do a socket.onMessage.
Okay.
Okay, equals, and then that function, that's gonna be a function that takes in an event. So event can be our input, and then we get our arrow. Boom. You are such a good pairing driver. It's amazing. Okay, and now we're gonna want to pull so the event is gonna have a data property.
Okay.
So if we do event.data, that's gonna be like the data that the Twitch socket IRC thing is sending us. Cool. Mm-hmm. We're gonna want to JSON parse that probably.
Okay, got it.
Okay, and then there's like a message on there, which is actually all we care about. Like we don't really care about usernames. We don't care about like tags and other stuff. So we're gonna want, boom, beautiful. Okay, so now we're gonna want to transform. You know what you could do for now? We're not gonna leave it this way.
Okay.
But just to see what's coming out, like what this data is that we're getting, do you want to do like a notify message?
Yes, I do.
Just so that we can see what's happening?
Yeah, I didn't want to tell you your business, but I totally wanted to do that. Okay, cannot set
right,
property on message of null.
Oh, okay. So we probably want to check for the socket, like before we, because I'm guessing it closed.
Can we do something like that? Does that work?
Yeah. We could also do like, I don't know, notify socket closed or what have you. But yeah, return.
Why don't you want to?
Should work. Okay, what's happening now? So the socket is null. We probably want to try to restart the socket. I think what happened is maybe there was a lull in chat and the socket closed. So let's go down to our socket cell and see if we can just reevaluate and reopen the WebSocket. Does that work? Okay, and now
doesn't like my
cannot set property. Try reevaluating.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Okay, a lull in chat.
Somebody
Send cool.
Chat,
okay,
chat.
So now, oh no, my keyboard stopped working.
There we go. Look at it go. Look at it happening. All right, okay, so this is great. Yes. This is.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we're getting data. It's happening. It's working. And if the socket closes, we know we need to just like reevaluate again to get it to work. Okay, awesome. But so what we're getting now is just like text and stuff. We need to process it to grab the emoji, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're going to need some additional like functions to help us with this. So let's write like a find emoji function that's going to scan a message for emoji and like pull out the ones that it finds, the emoji that it finds. And this is not, unfortunately, going to work with all these Twitch stickers and stuff, I don't think, but it should work for regular emoji. We can actually put this in a separate cell because it's going to be kind of a self-contained function.
I want to try just really quickly.
Yeah, go.
I thought it sent us all the stuff.
Is nobody?
Here we go. So we've got this object and it sends us our emotes. And if we take these emotes, there's actually a way to like just grab the address out. So like every Twitch emote works like this. So we could grab out this this Twitch, like whatever the emote ID is here. Let's see.
Okay.
Where is it? Why didn't that work? Object.
If we're working with emotes, which they're like little images, emotes. Right?
Yeah.
We're gonna have to rewrite some of the chart code because it's set up to work with like Unicode code points for these emoji.
Okay.
So that's like, we can totally do that, but it might take us a little while to like rewrite some of it shouldn't be too bad though.
Okay, that's I mean, it would be kind of fun to use these if you don't mind.
Let's do it. We'll make it work. We're here. We're playing around. Like we're learning.
YOLO.
This is what we're here for, right? I'm here to learn with Jason.
Okay, perfect. So what we're going to get out of any message with an emote is we'll get in the message tags emotes. So if I rewrite this.
What are all the little, so, okay, go ahead.
So we'll get the emotes would be data tags emotes. Or
okay.
I think it'll be is it an array? No. Is it an array? Somebody send like 3 emotes.
Chat folks, we need your help. Send some emotes.
So here's.
Thank you.
It looks like it splits on a slash. Right? So we've got a slash. So we can just split on a slash and then split again here. So this is just a location in chat if we were going to go in and like rip it out and drop in.
I see. Okay. Thing. But so if we split on slashes and then throw out everything after the colon, we should be okay. All right, let's do it.
Okay.
So do you want to, should we we could break that out into a separate function or something like that?
Yes.
If we want.
So I think
I'm a big fan of breaking stuff out into.
Let's see. We'll say like get Twitch emotes, and we'll take the string, and inside of that we know that we're going to get so the emotes would be string split on slashes, and then
sounds good.
IDs would be emotes. How would we do? So we're going to get an array of strings from there. So we're going to split on, or no, we need to map. And then we're going to get an emote. And then we're going to emote dot split on, we really just want like the first one. So we'll get like ID equals emote dot split on colon, and we'll just return the first bit.
The first one. Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay. And then we can just return that. So we'll return ID. So that'll give us our IDs.
Are we missing?
I've really missed all sorts of stuff.
Okay, cool.
So then I think if I just return, or we could even just do, we'll return IDs dot, or do you need more than, like if I just turn this into a URL, is that okay, or do you want it to be?
If it's a URL, I mean, we could, yeah, we'll play around. I haven't tried this with Twitch emotes yet, so let's.
Okay, so I'm just gonna map on the ID, and we will return the ID.
And is this like, have you worked with pulling these in before? Like, I'm just curious about this URL because I guess it's just giving us the image file.
It's just the Twitch CDN image. So we're gonna have like a straight up image to drop in. And so this, I think, should give us, did I do it right? I want to notify with the emotes. And so that should give us, why are you not working?
Is the socket still open?
My socket's still open? Socket is not open.
Oh no, okay.
Now that is open. There. Now we're getting an array of.
Cool. Y'all want to emote a bit? Come on. I don't even know how do I? It's the little face icon. Oh, I don't have access to the special ones. Nice.
Why did my.
Cool.
Did my.
Okay, and we're getting multiple if there's multiple. Awesome.
Oh, weird.
What's up?
I don't have access to my own emotes, which is super weird. Huh,
okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'll have to fix that later. But any one of these that we get, we'll be able to grab out and drop in here, which is cool. So the only challenge I think is that this is going to we'd have to do a little more work to get this to like pull out counts because there is more than one instance. So like for example, when we get an array like this, or wait, did it pull them all? 7, 2, 3, 8, 9. Thank you for the sub, Zach.
Does yeah, so in the original data, Do the line numbers indicate like the... No, that just shows where in the chat it was, or does it also indicate how many times it was used? Like what's after the colon?
It will give us... Let's do... I'm just going to do a bunch of emotes, and let's look at what comes out. It shows... Nikki. Okay, we're gonna do this really quick. Try again. Okay, here's a bunch of emotes, and we get emotes, and it just so it shows like character position split by that, which means we can get it like this. We can get it by when we split here, count would be so let's do it like this actually.
Break it out, yeah. I think I see where you're going with this. I like
positions, it. And then count would be positions, split, comma, length. Right?
I think so. I think
so. So then
cool. So we want to return like a little array then? Like
yeah. Or maybe we want to do that as like...
Oh, got to get rid of the 0. Oh, yeah.
Oh, good call. Good call.
Thanks.
Good call.
Nice.
All right, so now I get back my...
Man, I should do all my coding with like a room full of people to help me.
It's great, isn't it? Okay, so now we get IDs. Okay, so we need to get like URLs will be... like emote object. So we'll go emote object dot map, and then we'll get out the ID. Oh boy. All right, and then we're going to return this. Okay, so then what we would want to return is no, that's not what I want at all, is it? So I want to return like an object that has the URL and then spreads the emote so that we keep the ID and the count. I feel like this is getting very complicated.
I think I got a little bit lost.
Okay, if I did this right, what will happen is we are going to get back an object that has the emote ID, the emote URL, and the number of emotes in that message.
Okay.
So let's see if that worked. Unexpected token. Oh no.
I think we had some syntax. Woo! Unexpected token! Woo! Okay. I think we have. Are we missing?
Need to return. Oh, I need one more thingy.
Yeah, it's always one more or one less.
One more or one less thingy, indeed.
Thanks.
Okay. So
okay, how are we doing now? Is it working?
Did that cooperate? Nope, I'm still missing one. So I've got map parentheses. So that's right. Parentheses.
Is it?
Anyone see what I did?
I don't see it. Maybe.
Oh no, here it's working again.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. It just hadn't updated because nobody had chatted. I see.
That seems wrong. Look how
cool.
Many...
Okay.
Oh no, this is right. Look at it go. So we get 2 and 2 with the URLs and the IDs. 15 boots.
Great.
Perfect. Yeah, there we go. So it's doing what we want. Oh my God, another. Chat. I gotta take the corgi out of that boop command. Okay.
Great. And so what happens? Like, what happens? Nothing, because we're just not.
Yep, it shouldn't change anything.
We're just not notifying. Okay, cool. All right. So now we have our data coming in. We're going to need to reformat it if we want to use this code as written, right? Like, I'm wondering, can we make do with just the ID and the count and like compute the URL later?
Yeah,
like
100%.
the URL is predictable, right? So could we make like, so what we're trying to feed into the process data function is an array of arrays with 2 elements with like the key of like whatever the thing is and the count of the new count, the new times that we've seen that.
Got it.
Right?
Yes. And
so maybe we can just, yeah.
Yep, that's what we got. And you want it as an array.
So I'm just like, let's look at how we want to hook this up to the process data function, which is we're going to want like an array of those things. So
key value of data. So we want ID. Wait, I don't know. How does for of work? Do I want it to be an object that's like ID count?
No, if we have an array, then like for of is going to give us like go over each element in that array. So if we have an array of arrays that have a key and value, like the inner arrays are of the format key value, then we can loop over that with for of to say like if I have a big array, like for each little array of my big array, treat this little array as like destructure it into key and value and then process. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know if that was a weird way of saying it.
I think I'm with you. So if I'm understanding that correctly, then this becomes our key, right?
Yep.
And you want key and count?
Yeah.
Okay.
And this get Twitch emotes, like where are we doing that multiple emote array? Yeah, okay, cool.
So we'll return this. So when we get a message, we get the Twitch emotes, and this is an array. And so it's going to return an array.
Yeah. Okay, let's see what happens now. We should be getting just like similar data to what we were looking at before, but it's just an array of arrays format. Emoting, alive. Trying to emote. Does this count? Do these count as emotes or are they just text? No, those are just,
okay. It's not picking up, which leads me to believe
the socket close because there was a lull?
Oh, yep, it did. Okay, so we got a WebSocket. We got that. And now...
Is it running now?
There we go. So ID and count.
Cool. Okay. All right. So now if we start trying to actually process these into that sorted array that that Mike Bostock already wrote all the code for, we can try.
We can just process.
I feel like I'm at the circus every time that happens.
I know.
I go on the merry-go-round.
I'm realizing now the mistake that we made by relying on the Twitch emotes that also trigger sound effects.
We're in it to win it here. Okay, so we still got to process this data so that we can get it in, so that we can start accumulating the counts like over multiple messages, which is what we actually care about, right?
Right.
So let's so we get those in our on message handler. We're getting those emotes.
So I just want to do it like this?
We want to process them. And then we probably want to notify, instead of notifying on the emotes themselves, we want to notify on this entries array, which is where we're keeping, this is like the cumulative, like sorted array that we're keeping.
That's right. Okay, so we've got entries here. And then we are looping through the new data, which is an array of arrays. And then we are going to, so we get that processed, and then that mutates the entries data, which should give us updated data.
Which is so that we can like keep that count going over multiple messages.
Okay, so now that we're running this.
Okay, so now, what are we getting? Can we get some help from the chat? Let's get some emojis going here. See if it's changing. Is it, or is something going wrong? Oh,
there we go.
Oh, there it goes. Okay, it's growing.
We're getting cumulative counts.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Yay. Yes. Okay. All right. Now we just have to figure out how to get.
Oh my God.
So, okay, what we could try is just like dropping this into the chart with that like chart.update. Like we could try emojis, but I think what we're going to see is that the bars might still work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the code points don't work anymore.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so but it's breaking because it's trying to process these as like emoji.
As like Unicode. Right.
Yeah, exactly. So this is where we're going to have to like tweak this chart to make it work for us.
Okay. So the chart.
So chart right now, we're pulling in from Mike Bostock's notebook. It's not like we don't have the code for that in our notebook. It's somebody else's that they wrote and published.
Right.
So what we probably want to do is like grab that code and mess with it in our own notebook. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Is there a way to get like a bunch of it? Because it looks like what's happening is that there is a.
Oh, right. Yeah, actually, we don't need the chart code. We need the update bars and update the other stuff. So breaking down what's happening in this bar chart race, which there is a notebook that I dropped in the chat like way earlier, or you did, or somebody did, the bar chart race explained, which if you want to like dig into this later at home and kind of really go through it with a fine-tooth comb and understand what's happening, that notebook is a great explainer. But basically, I will try my best to sum it up. TLDR is that what we're doing, we've got this chart, which is like this D3 SVG. And every time we get new data, we are calling these update functions, which are updating both the bars so that we change the width and reorder them based on like which thing is first in the chart. And then also updating the labels and the axes to go along with that, like as the numbers change.
Yeah. And it looks like the most critical part of what we've got here is right here, where everything else can stay the same except there's this function that takes the name and then makes an emoji out of the name. So so
you're in the labels function, right? I can't see the top. Yeah, okay. So why don't we grab the code for that labels function and rewrite it, like mess with it in our notebook. And then what we can do is, I think we can even drop that in to the, or Visnu is saying we could even just redefine the emoji function.
That was what I think that's a good call. So that would give us a lot of power. And are you saying this is just going to work? Like if I just redefine this one thing, it'll like override?
I think there's one other thing that we have to do, which is like, which is, so if we like, let's say, we're no longer dealing with emoji. Maybe we want to call that function like, get emote or something like that.
Well, I think because we're still dropping in a name and like, I kind of don't care if it unexpected. Oh. Here. So
I'm just saying, like, if we want to rename that emoji function to something else, like emote, for example, because we're not actually, then what we should be able to do, it's probably going to break, but it's already broken. So yay.
Okay, so I'm renaming it to emote.
If you rename that to like emote or something like that.
Okay.
And then in the import, where we import chart emojis as Twitter emojis, we can add a with clause to like replace something in the original notebook. So after the curly braces, before the from.
Here.
After the curly braces, before the from, if you type space with, then open curly braces. And now we're going to replace, so we're going to say with emote as emoji. I think that this will, now it'll be calling in the code for the chart, it will be calling the emote function instead of the emoji function. So we're like, basically, we're saying, hey, run the code from this other notebook, but like pretend that this emote function is the emojis function. Does that make sense?
It does. And now I want to see.
We've probably broken everything because this is expecting some text.
It's doing the thing though.
Okay,
look at it go.
It's doing something. All right, great. So we just don't have the images, but it's getting those. Can we get some more? Can we emote a bit, folks?
So the text, can I set in? Yeah, so here's our, okay. So this is like working, right? It's
working. It just looks kind of whatever.
Right. So now we need to figure out how to tell D3 to use an image as a label.
Put an image there.
And
so, this is honestly, we are right now full on at the limits of my D3 skills. So I'm going to be like going like what to do here. Or if anybody that's on the chat, like Mike Freeman or Visnu or anybody from Observable wants to help us out, please. Okay, so
we are just getting buried in boops.
Wait, has anybody ever filled the entire screen up on
We almost did it the other day. We got like 2/3 of the way full. But today, with an emoji race, I feel like this might be the day to do it. So let's figure out how to make this actually work. We'll get right now we're looking at the text. So we want to, I don't know, just D3 show image in label.
We can see here. And so the other thing is that I think the way that this original emoji function was being used, and thank you, Visnu, for pointing this out, the way that this original emoji function was being used is like, it's assuming that we're going to get like a piece of text to put in these labels. But we probably don't want to put like a text node there.
Right.
We probably want to put some kind of imagey node. And this is where like, I'm not a SVG expert. So I'll have to look up what that looks like. But
I think we can
probably are going to need to change more than just this emoji function. But what we could do.
I have a hunch. I have a hunch that I think might work. So let me see if I can, let's see if I can take what you've taught me and make this do what I want.
What we've figured out together, Jason.
So I have...
if we can get this to work in the next 7 minutes, I'm going to be so happy.
Image labels. And inside of here, instead of the text, I want to append, and it was an image, and so this was broken, but it was an image tag, and then I just set attributes. So let's set an image tag, and I then want to have an attribute of source, and we'll make that, is that going to work?
The emoji, yeah. Well, and we can even call it emote name, because now this is like our code, so we can use our name.
That's right. Okay, so then down here where we do the import, wherever that was.
So do we need to, sorry, can we go back to that?
Yes.
Here. Do you see how we're doing this? See how we're appending that T span there? Do you think we could, a few lines above, where it does call, text goes to text append T span? Like, is it okay for the image to be inside of that T span, or should we just be appending the image right there? I don't know.
Is a T span like a, I don't know.
I think it's like a section of the text inside, I think.
Let's see what happens if we just let it roll. I'm trying to change like the minimum amount of things because this is
totally. Let's see what happens. happens.
And then what I'm going to also change up here is let's see the image. Yep. Okay. So let's try this and see what happens. Text tween is not defined. What the hell is that?
Oh, so text tween is it's basically animating the change in the numbers. So like as the numbers change, it's like making that nice. So what we can do is just import that also from the other notebook.
So
in the import statement that we have, we can just add text tween, I think.
Okay, so I've got my import text tween, and then I'm going to use
tween. Does that say text tweet?
Image labels as labels. Okay.
Yeah, I think.
Chart could not be resolved.
I think it's text tween with an N.
Oh. Okay, so that.
Now what's happening?
Text tween chart cannot be resolved. It's probably just null down here.
Chart cannot be resolved.
Bar size. Bar size. Okay, so I got to import bar size. We'll get there. This is good. We'll get there. Work.
We'll get there. We could drag that function up or drag the import down to make so we don't have to scroll back and forth between them a lot.
Let's do that.
No, this will work. This will work.
Yes.
X.
I feel it. I feel it about to work.
Y. Format number. Okay, so now
oh my god, okay.
Our WebSocket is null.
Yep.
And if
we need some emotes, folks.
Buckets.
Do what you do best.
Okay, so that did not work, but we've eliminated that.
But we have bars.
Holy buckets, did that just work?
I do need image instead of image. All right, let's try it.
Sorry, what did you say? I just heard holy buckets. Did that work?
I was told that I do need image instead of image. That doesn't want to work.
Okay, let's see. So append image. Yeah, so we're in the middle of an SVG, and what we're doing is we're like appending nodes within the SVG as far as I understand is what like D3 how we do this.
Source should be href.
Source should be href.
All right, we're learning a lot today.
It's new to the rescue.
Let's do
anything? Can we get some? No.
Okay, so things are still not quite working, but so we're tracking the data, which is super exciting. And now we're just in the world of like, how do we get the image to show up? And that's where it's not necessarily.
And that's what so I'm just trying to see how this works. Is it image with a
I'm poking around inside here to see if there's anything.
I cannot read that, but I support you. Yeah. I am also duck going over here. Let me see what's going on here.
Image href. Okay, so these parts do work, but they're not like visible.
Maybe do we need to like give it a width and stuff? Like, is it because we haven't given it?
Excellent question.
Like a width or something? Can we try that? I don't know. I'm grasping at straws here. Pulling it out from the text might need to be outside the T-span.
Okay,
we can try both of those things. We can try adding dimensions and pulling it out of the T-span in whatever order we want.
Width and height. Okay, so let's add a width and a height. So
I think we might want to
attribute width, and we'll give it a width of, we'll just make these like 40 pixels, and I'm going to copy paste this down so we can do height. And then you said take it out of the T-span?
I think maybe if we just take away that whole, if we do text.append image and like use the code, like if we take away the append T-span, we want to keep the,
like this?
We want to keep the DYD,
Okay.
I think this should work. I mean, I don't know, but we can try it out.
Undefined.
Okay, so some folks are saying it seems to work without width and height even. So maybe no sockets. Okay, sockets open. Are we emoting?
Okay, so that part's not working. Let me take the width and height out.
I wonder.
Let's try that again.
Anything? I think it has to be outside the text tag. This new says. Let's try that.
Inspect. Got the image. It's outside. Oh, outside of the text entirely.
Maybe.
Okay, let's give it a shot. So text.append. So instead we want to, let's see, there's text here.
Enter.append text. So let's see here.
So instead we would want to do like enter.append text, and then we've got attributes, and then we call, and then we
that append. So that first T-span, that's like the number of the count.
Right. And then I think here we .append image. Yeah, so we're basically like outside of the text. Here.
Cool.
Let's see what happens.
I don't know about the call. Oh, sorry. Ooh.
Where am I going? I got lost again.
I think we're further up.
Ha!
And we can unpin some of those long cells if they're like in our way. Are we missing?
Did I miss a piece?
No.
I did.
And this is again like the limits of my D3 and SVG knowledge. I don't know. So let's see. So can we get some? All right. What are we seeing right now? Like, what do we have in our? Can we inspect our SVG?
Yeah. Let me make sure it's running. Is this giving us?
I think it is.
Now we're not getting text
but we
at
lost
all,
we lost our numbers, right?
Execute is not a child of this node. Ah, okay, so I'm definitely doing something wrong here. So let's get this out of there.
Can we do like maybe before we need an object before that append? Yeah, so sorry, I'm a little lost here. Okay, so when we do this enter.append text, like what if we do the append image there, maybe? And yeah, somebody is pointing out that call text to text. I don't think we need that.
Okay.
I think that is, let me see here.
Okay, so maybe if we like, are you saying append an object, like straight up append an object, or like do we need to append like a group and then put stuff inside of the group?
We could try that, yeah.
Let's see what happens if we just put stuff inside of the group. Does that explode?
Append a group, and then we append
Hey, look at it go.
Oh my God.
Okay, so that's
all right.
It's like the stuff is happening.
Can we get some here? Can we get some more? Can we get some more action in the chat, please?
Okay, so things are definitely happening, but they're not positioned.
But the positioning is all messed up. Okay.
Yeah, this positioning was supposed to be there, but maybe we need like an X, Y. Oh, maybe. Okay, so maybe I can just set something like this. Just see what happens if I do straight up that.
Let's see. Can we get some action? Emoting. Thank you.
There's a bucket. No, that's not it. Did my socket die? Yes. Womp womp. Okay.
Okay.
I'm also gonna unpin this one because we know that works.
Yeah, it's so long.
So then we should be getting some data. So let's make sure we've got a WebSocket. We've got this text running.
Okay.
There is, okay.
Can we get
some,
another
one.
Thank you. All right. Okay. Bucket.
They are
but we're only
stacking.
Getting like the first. So I think maybe we're not positioning. Are all of the groups there? They're just, whoa.
Still doesn't like.
Now we're getting errors.
So, okay. So this is the part where I think I'm getting something simple wrong that I don't understand.
Same.
Because I think there's like a way to, I think we have to do something between appending. And
I think this is like this call thing, which again, now this is my
Yep.
Not
you are
quite
absolutely
understanding
right.
how
it is creating like an image with text inside of it, which is not what we wanted.
Right.
Okay.
Can we append, what if we like didn't care about the text for right now? Could we try?
Yeah.
Okay, can we move? Let's see. We got some suggestions from folk. We've got G. So what we're creating now is G image with the text inside of it, and then the image inside of the G. So everything is nested. So we want to use call to append to the outside parent somehow. So this, okay. So that.
Does that explode?
So can we use this call with like can we use call on the,
move the translate to the group, which is what I thought I was doing.
Move the translate to the group. And then do we need to do like a call here somewhere? And Vishnu is saying with curly braces.
Well, I think I did that because what I just did was I like broke this into pieces. Down a bit, the transform. Where is the transform? This transform.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, okay.
Aha, okay, great.
Oh, but then this would be wrong. So how do I get from, so we've got this, all right, I'm taking this text out for now. Let's see if we can just get the emotes
the image
to show up. Okay.
Okay,
so
well, the bars are working. That's great. That's still good. I'll win. What are you seeing there?
I was looking for the emotes, but those appear to be like missing entirely now. And I believe it's because of this.
It's because I think we're not. Ooh.
Right? Yeah, so they get stuck in here. And so we need like a transform on these.
Yeah. Okay, so if we move the transform around, maybe we can.
Yeah.
Find the right spot for it.
Do you actually need to return enter? I don't know if you need to do that. So let's see here. This transform should be going on. Let's look at this one. So this one takes, where did the labels go?
Sorry, what are we looking for?
I'm looking for the original to see what, okay, so here's the original. So the transform went on this whole text group.
Mm-hmm.
Along with an X and a Y. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes sense. But it's not clear what, maybe like a G can't get.
What we don't have, I'm just looking at like the difference between the original and what we have right here. What we don't have is like that call thing.
Right. And does anybody know in chat what that does? Because I don't.
So this is again like something that I need to learn better about D3 and how this works. But the call, so this selection.call, and I'm just reading up here. It seems to, oh my gosh, my computer just froze.
Oh no.
It seems to be, okay, we're back. That it's like, allows us to kind of maintain the selection so that we can do more stuff on it without breaking that chain. At least that's what I'm
okay. I think
understanding. Okay, so Mike Freeman, who is our D3 teacher here, has says it executes a function with the selected element as the first argument. So if we wanted to like append an image to every G, could we like call node goes to node append? Yeah, exactly. Does that look reasonable? Anybody, D3 folks who are on the chat? Let's see what happens.
Okay. No errors.
I think so. We have some think so's. Let's see what happens. Did the socket close?
Compare document position is not a function. Ruh-roh.
I don't know what that is. Let's see here.
So we've got, let's see.
Do we still have our data coming in? Is that still working? Or has it just like
Yeah.
stopped?
So here's our WebSocket.
WebSocket's happening. The emojis are happening.
Looks like it.
Maybe.
Yeah, here's
cool.
emojis.
Oh, okay. All right. There it goes. There it goes. All right. So what do we see up here?
They're coming in. So we're getting like they're showing up.
They're just not in the right place.
It doesn't like these.
Can you try reevaluating that? Is it giving you the error every time?
Yeah. So I think it's something that I did.
Don't know what that compare document position. It must be something about Let's see. Call text goes node dot append image blah blah blah.
I need to do the call with the group. Isn't that what I'm doing though? Is like
I have a question. What if we take the group out? Can we just like append the image with the transform and with the, since we stopped caring about the text?
Excellent question. Let's try. So we've got this, this, and this, and then I'm going to get this out of here.
But I don't know. Maybe we.
And then it like wants to dump everything. And I can't.
It wants to what? Sorry?
It just like dumps that whole thing, and I'm not sure why.
Okay. Let's see. Mike says you can transform the images and text to the same places. I don't know. Okay, enter.append. We have the transform, the X, the Y, the DY.
Oh, wait, is this a diameter? DX, DY? Okay, let me publish.
So we can publish, we can publish a notebook, and like we can play around with this afterwards and try to get it working. I don't know what our time constraint is here, if we're already.
Let's see, we're running a little long, but I think like if you've got time, I'm happy to try to figure this out.
Okay, let's so folks, so the way publishing works on Observable, now that we've published this notebook, anybody can go and look at it, and they can edit the code in their like client, like in their browser, and run it and see what's happening, like when they make changes to the code. But it won't be pulled back into the original unless you try to basically do like a PR on it. So like make a suggestion. If you were to try to suggest new code for it, it's sort of like a fork and PR kind of workflow on the notebooks. Just background context. Okay, so let's see here. Where did we end up? I feel like we've migrated a ways from where we started. Do we want to? Yeah,
so we started here.
Okay, where we do the enter. Okay, and this is where like when new data comes in, it's going to
I have no idea what changed, but
what changed?
I got rid of some extra stuff, and I'm just returning the enter.append, but I was returning the enter below, so I'm not sure if that's magic or what.
Interesting. So okay, it looks like we're super close. Wait, how is it doing? All of the
X is -6. So maybe I can just set a width.
Yeah, now I think we just need to mess with values, it looks like.
Yeah, so I'm gonna set a.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, actually, I wonder. I might even just be able to scale. No, like this.
I support you. Support your scaling. We need some emoji. Emoji.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
So
I think maybe we just need to bring it further to the left, right?
Yeah, it looks like we want to. I'm going to try the width and height because that scale didn't work the way that I expected. So let's just set a width of, let's say, like 30 pixels. And we'll do the same thing for height. And then we want to translate left by like, let's say 15.
Hey, what's up? Hi.
Hey.
Oh my God, this is looking great.
We're getting real close here. All right.
We need some booping. I mean, I like this is, I mean, they're pretty much visible. If we can just move it further up. Yeah. Okay. And maybe we want to have that, that offset be a little bit less. Like, I don't know if that was the dy that we were using.
The y is the bandwidth divided by 2.
You want to like minus something?
Minus 20?
Or I always forget, is it minus or like, does it start from the...
Oh, we're so close. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Amazing.
We have done it.
Oh my God. Okay, more emoji. More emoting. Come on, who's got a favorite that we're not using enough here? So for some of the others, it looks like maybe we can't see them until they like break into the charts, which I think is okay because it's like you gotta have a certain representation before you get your icon in the chart. Oh my gosh! I'm so excited.
Now I'm gonna.
Nice. Ooh, the cat is making a real play for it here. Dude.
We did it.
Dude, we did it.
Look at me spamming my way to the top.
Yay!
Good job, y'all.
Gosh.
This is fun. This was a lot of fun.
We did it. I can believe it because we've got like this awesome crowd of people to be helping us and like mob debugging and whatever. And so we like, this is what we've been doing is really pushing ourselves to like do stuff in these technologies that both of us are, we're getting used to. We're not D3 experts. We're not observable experts either. I am still new to the tool as well, but like, hopefully what this shows a little bit of is the way we can get that like live feedback,
Yeah. It really is like, it's super, super cool. And you've done it, chat. You've successfully completely flooded the whole screen with poops. This is a learn with Jason first. You've made it completely unusable.
Yes. The little
great Jason, job, y'all. What a blast.
Oh my gosh, this was so fun.
Yes. Okay, so Anjana, I so appreciate you staying a little bit longer to get this done.
Did that just work?
This was amazing. This was so much fun, and it was cool because this took me outside of like, this has got to be a record for the most corgi parades in a single go.
Is it always like this? Because like in my head, it's like always like this now.
It's not like this. But so to just recap before we wrap up, we were able to go in and using Observable, we pulled in. Let's walk through the code here. So you set up a server that would just listen to the chat and send us the messages, right?
Yeah, really. And Mike Bostock set up the server. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you very much, Mike. Using that server, we were able to set up a listener that would get the data. How do let's show here. That would listen to our data. Mm-hmm. And whenever we got a message, it would just process it to the emote that was used and the count for the number of times that it was used. We were able to throw that into this array that keeps track of like how many emotes were used and all that good stuff.
And updates every time we get a new like set of emotes. So
yes,
like if we get a message with no emotes, it's not going to update. Yeah.
Yeah, which is awesome. And so yeah, that's this notify function updates observable whenever something changes.
And the reason that we broke it out that way, like with other values, like if you have, let's say you have an animation or something, and you can also just like yield new values. But since we wanted to be waiting until we get that socket message, we wanted to explicitly control when that update happens with that notify function. So yes. Totally.
And then what is even cooler is we were able to pull in a lot of the starting point from Mike's prior art. And then we just remixed it. So we pulled in the pieces we needed. and then we just straight up rewrote the part that we needed to change. Then we mucked around in D3 and eventually got there. Thank you, chat. All of which results in this amazing over 1,000 boops just since we got the chart running. This is unbelievable.
That's so amazing.
Wow. But this is so much fun. Like how cool is it that we were able to do this that fast?
Yeah.
It's really, really powerful stuff. And I think given that I knew literally nothing about any of this before we started, and given that you and I both don't know a ton about D3, it was like...
Yeah, this would have gone a lot faster if I knew what I was doing in D3, sorry.
But I actually think that makes it all the more impressive. Like the fact that we were able to put this together and like get it running and build a data visualization in this amount of time, even with me throwing curveballs like, hey, let's actually get the Twitch emote to work, right? That is cool. Like I am very, very impressed because I've tried to do stuff like this in the past, and I usually get about halfway and I'm like, you know what? I'm spending so much time on this that I should stop.
Totally. No, and what I really love is like that remixing, like you said, like you can grab something that somebody else has made and be like, oh, I like that a lot, but I wish it was just a little bit different this way. Like if I was going to remix this, I would make the color of the bar chart, the bars like more fun. I don't know, like stuff like that, right? Even if it's just colors or the data that's coming into it, what have you, being able to like quickly like kind of stand on the shoulders of other folks who've made these amazing visualizations is really fun, I think.
Really, really cool. Well, so Anjana, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I'm so glad we got this working. I can't even tell you.
Yeah, this was an absolute blast. And so for people who want to keep up with you, and who wouldn't, chat, if you don't go follow Anjana after this, I'm going to find you. But where should everyone go? Like where should people go to keep up with you?
Yeah, so Twitter is probably the easiest way to keep up with me and get in touch. So my handle is my name, Anjana Vakil, all together. And there, you'll find links to some other things that I've involved in or have been involved with in the past. And Observable is also like this kind of, social community. Like if you're interested in getting started with Observable, I mean, you can go and look at people's notebooks without even having an account. You can look at those, but if you want to make your own, you can sign up for that account and you can drop into the Observable forums, which I believe is talk.observablehq.com. I'm going to confirm that in a second. If you have like questions or because like one of the reasons this went so fast is because we had a whole room full of people who like know D3, who some folks from my team at Observable. Thanks everybody, Visnu and Wayne and everybody else who dropped in from Observable today. And yeah, if you are interested in getting started with Observable, oh, thanks, Mike, you beat me to it. Poke around, see what else is out there, get in touch with other people. You can reach out to us on Twitter. You can ping me there. You can also shoot me an email, anjana@observablehq.com. And yeah, we can stay in touch and you can learn from like all of the amazing work that people are doing in Observable, which is, again, it's just like, that's what's so exciting to me about it, is just seeing the brilliant, creative, beautiful stuff that people make in it. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much, everybody in the chat, for being really part of this here.
Yeah. And, as always, chat, you were equal parts helpful and terrible. It's very much appreciated. And with
I'd
that,
say definitely heavy on the helpful side.
Yeah, don't encourage it.
See, to everyone in chat, and finally overwhelming the screen with hoops.
Very much appreciated. Y'all are wonderful. It was an absolute blast today. Anjana, you're amazing. We are going to raid and make sure that you tune in. We've got a lot of fun stuff coming up on the schedule. So we have next Tuesday, Khalil Stemler is going to join us and we're going to learn Apollo. So if you are interested in learning GraphQL, it's going to be a blast, absolute blast. And then I've got Jinsi Uman coming on, and we're going to write a custom Alexa skill. And I actually have back in the background here an Amazon Echo that I'm just going to give away because I don't use it and I don't want it. So I'm going to give it to somebody who wants it. We'll do a raffle for it on the show. So stay tuned next week. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Keep it glued. We're going to raid. And Anjana, thank you one more time. See you next time, y'all.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, everybody. This was a blast.